all. So we are waiting for Madam. Madam will join us. Hello, Professor Savita Kaushal, are you here? Madam will join us very soon. Dr. Savita Kaushal, are you here? Professor Savita Kaushal, are you here? Let me make a phone call to her. मीटिंग छोड़ रही हूँ, मैडम को बुलाती हूँ.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, ma'am.
It is going to be good afternoon, as rightly pointed out by.
Good afternoon,
Yes, madam is with us. Yes. So madam is with us. So welcome,
Good afternoon,
Professor
ma'am.
Savita Kaushal ji. And on behalf of Director UGC MMTTC and on behalf of participant and my own behalf, I welcome you, madam. And as far as introduction of this group is concerned, they are very dynamic and good learners, having curiosity to know more about the academic world. And dear participants, I would also like to say that Madam Professor Savita Kaushal is professor in IASC, Jamia Millia Islamia. She is very active and dynamic academician, having lot of engagements, but in spite of that, she consented to us and she presented herself, is going to present lecture here within few minutes. So madam, you may start your lecture. Now floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me to this learned group. It's all, so many academicians in this group, and I think it will be learning both ways when we are talking about inclusion, basically gender inclusion classroom in the classrooms, and also rethinking about the curriculum, pedagogy, and participation. And so, good morning. Good afternoon to everyone. So.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon to
Good
everyone.
afternoon, ma'am.
So today I'll be speaking
Good
about.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. So today I'll be speaking about gender inclusive classrooms, and we have to rethink the curriculum, pedagogy, and participation in a gender inclusive classroom. So we'll be just talking about, or what we can say is that we'll be examining how can we transform our institutions, whether it is a school or whether it is a college or a university, how we can transform those institutions into equitable spaces for all genders. So that's very important, because we have to create gender equitable spaces and within the institution. And so I'll just open my PowerPoint, and so your session is till 2 p.m. or 2:05? I just wanted to ask so that we can have some a little bit of deliberations. That is why I'm asking you.
Ma'am, 2 p.m.
2
2
p.m.
p.m.
ma'am.
Yes, 2 p.m.
So I'll
Your
try.
session, madam, your session starts at 12:30 and
Acha.
it ends to 2 p.m.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll try to, finish off 10 minutes before, so that we can have some, interactions or some questions from your side. But now I'll share my PowerPoint so that we should not lose much of time also. So let me share my PowerPoint with you. Okay. Try screen. Why? I don't know. It is not sharing actually. Let me see. It is happening now. I think I'm able to share. You can see the screen, but not the PowerPoint, because I have not opened. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
if
ma'am.
there is,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, thank you. So,
Yes, ma'am.
if there is some issue regarding, my verbal, or because I won't be able to see you now, so that's a problem. So you have to let me know. Okay. So today we'll be talking about gender inclusive classrooms and rethinking curriculum, pedagogy, and participation. And let's see what is gender and sex. We use two terms, that is gender, sex. When a child is born, the doctor says the sex is boy, or if it is a girl is born, we say the sex is. So obviously there is a distinction. We don't say much about gender at that time, no. And so there is a, we know that sex is basically a biological term, and it is based on the anatomy and chromosomes also. There is one chromosome which makes all the difference, that is X and the Y. If there are two X chromosomes, it is the girl child, and if it is one Y and one X, it is the male child. So it basically refers to how individuals, express. When we talk about the gender, we say that it is about the social, cultural context also. Gender is something which is very much fluid and which is non-binary, unlike the binary notion of sex. And gender refers to the socially constructed roles. हम बच्चों को कुछ roles देते हैं, behavior, expressions, और उनकी identities. Like we name a girl, if we name a girl, would we name them a girl like, by the name like what you would say, Amir? कभी सुना है कोई लड़की का नाम अमीर? हाँ, नहीं सुना होगा ना? So naming is also according to gender. We will say that the girl is Shefali or Mehnaz, like that. So naming, basically, naming also gives a connotation of a gender. And it is not same as a sex. क्यों? इसलिए क्योंकि इसमें biological differences की बात तो है, but we talk about more in the social context. और sex जो है basically birth based होता है, and that is based on the anatomy and the chromosomes, and so it is biological in nature. And gender, however, a person identifies and expresses themselves within a cultural and social context. Or within a teaching also, we use the terms or certain construct social context, like within the for the small children. How does a teacher say girls will not cry? Labeling ho gaya na, that social context comes. Boys are brave, they will not be crying. Girls will cry. Boys are not expected to behave like that. होता है ऐसे या नहीं होता? होता है ना institutions में. तो दोनों टर्म है ना, तो हम डिस्टिंक्ट कर देते हैं. लाइक राइट फ्रॉम द बर्थ, गर्ल्स को पिंक कलर पहनाएंगे, बॉयज को कहेंगे पिंक नहीं, विल से कि ब्लू कलर है बॉयज का. तो हियर समहाउ वी आर लेबलिंग द चाइल्ड in terms of its own gender identity कि लड़के इस तरह की ड्रेस पहनते हैं, लड़कों का रोते नहीं है अभी बिल्कुल भी, बट गर्ल चाइल्ड तो रो सकता है बिकॉज बहुत सेंटिमेंटल है, वीक, we also say weak. No, here, weak का जो notion है, that is, if I speak Hindi in between, or do you want me to speak in English throughout, you let me know. पहले बताओ how you are comfortable.
मैम bilingual.
मैम हिंदी में
हिंदी में दोनों, अच्छा वो तो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा।
मैडम बीच बीच में इंग्लिश भी बोल देना आप फिर।
हाँ ठीक है,
हिंदी उतनी नहीं आती।
हाँ
बहुत लैंग्वेज में
हाँ, तो हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों को मिक्स करके ही बोलते
दोनों का मिक्स करके, ठीक है मैम।
दोनों को
Many
मिक्स
participants don't understand Hindi, ma'am. So please opt for only English mode. It will be very helpful to them.
English, okay, then I'll use English only. There will be some participants who will be affected, they won't be able to understand. So we always try to identify children in terms of their gender and through our own classroom practices also, when we are establishing certain norms within the classroom also, and subject choices also. When you see, we make, if there is a boy who takes home science as a subject, we'll say, nee, home science is not meant for boys, it is for girls. It happens, you should take something of electrical, computer science, those kind of labeling do happen. But nowadays we see transformation in our attitude also. Like you can see that although we label the profession of cooking as a profession which should be for girls, but you find that and we say that girls, they have to cook, that is their role. But in most of the hotels and good places, you find very good chefs who are male only. So that notion, that why I am saying that males are chefs, that notion, we say that girls are assigned this job because they do better. Girls can be good tailors, but boys cannot be. So these roles, they can be done in a good way by men also. But our socially constructed roles by our mindset or by our thought, they create such kind of emotion within us that this is the problem. Okay, you got this now? So gender as a social construct, when we talk about gender roles, are not innate. Basically, they are learned family. So you learn through your family, through media. In media also, when you see advertisement, what do you see in the ads? You see that nowadays there is a transformation in the advertisements also, but normally the earlier ads used to have the females doing the household work, the men going to the office. So those kind of situations were being shown. So we can say it is not only the family, but media, and also religion and schools. Like in religion also, sometimes there are certain practices within the religion which say that girls should do this, boys should do this, and girls are discouraged to do this. That is their role only. And within the school also, or within the institutions, we think of these kind of roles, and this also leads to some kind of power imbalance, and girls are discouraged from taking the STEM courses, for instance, and boys are when if they are crying or showing some emotions, so their gender diverse children, they are excluded in the class also. So it is important that we identify the challenge among these disparities in the school also. Like there is bullying also, exclusion of children who are gender diverse, or invisibility in the curriculum. Sometimes there are some boys who look like girls. They will say that you look like girls only, your features are like this. So why do you fix that gender stereotype within the classroom? And there is, lack of access to hygienic facilities for girls also within the schools also, sometimes institutions also. Sometimes there are, separate toilets for girls and boys. They are few. And so that also discourages. So there are gender based disparities in the schools and the colleges, and this leads to a power imbalance. And basically their roles can vary across cultures and change over time also, but we don't realize that. So now, what is gender inclusive classroom? Now, inclusion means the things we are getting included. So in this context, gender roles, we can say that a gender inclusive classroom is basically one which would be safe and which would be respectful and affirming space for students of all genders, and it avoids stereotypes and discriminations and embarrasses.
Pardon, ma'am, PPT is not running.
PPT is not running.
Not running.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am,
You
no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Please, your
Please,
PPTs are not running.
This is not running, but I am playing that. I'll try again. Okay, I'll just wait, or I'll share with the MMTC. They can just wait. It is not running.
Ma'am, you have to select, when you are sharing, you just need to select entire screen option.
Show my screen anyway. Stop present. Show my screen anyway. Now you can see my screen. You can see that, no?
No. Just stop presenting. First, stop presenting, ma'am.
Okay. Stop presenting. Okay.
Now go
So
to presentation. Go to present now.
Now share screen. I'll go to
Yes.
share screen. I'll
Click
go to
on
share.
entire screen option.
There is a screen, Microsoft Web Edge, window, entire screen. I went to entire screen only.
Window,
Click on
window,
entire
window.
screen.
Now I share my entire screen. Okay. I am sharing the entire screen.
Now open your PPT.
Now
Ma'am, share window only.
Nihal sir, please. Nihal sir,
can
please.
you see that now?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Huh?
Yes, madam, yes.
Put it
Now
on
I will
presentation
go
mode.
to from the beginning. Okay. Can you see
Perfect.
that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So
Yes,
now can you see the next slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Gender and sex, which I have covered. Then second one, gender and social this you can see.
Yes, ma'am.
Next one, na?
Yes,
Okay. Sorry
Yes,
for
ma'am.
it's good you told me. Now this one, what is gender inclusive classroom? No, this one you can see this slide. No, so now when we talk about inclusion, no, so inclusion is something which has a word inclusion. Inclusion means something is coming within it. When we talk about exclusion, it's not there. So when we talk about a gender inclusive classroom would be one which every child feels safe, every child feels respected, and also affirming space for students of all genders. So it avoids stereotypes and also discrimination. And what I would say that it also embraces some kind of diversity in curriculum, language, and pedagogy. That's very important. And so if you have to think in terms of including all genders within the class, you have to think of the classroom spaces in such a way that the gender feeling of gender being aloof because of a gender, or being not respected because of gender, or not being represented, like if you give chance to boys to only to do a particular task and not to girls, so that representation is not there within the class. And of course the class has to be safe also, like in terms of if there is bullying or something of that sort, the gender inclusion won't be there. Now when we talk about gender, one thing which always we always talk about male and the female. What about transgender? They too also have emotions, but when we think of gender, we don't think of that much about them. But now there is some kind of removal of these stereotypes that they can go in for education, they can go in for some kind of employment. These were the restrictions for them. So this kind of affirmation of diverse gender identities and expressions is also very important, and we need to think about gender biased how to remove gender biased discrimination as a teacher, and how to remove the stereotypes, and what are the role expectations, whether they are right or wrong. If we are saying that this task is to be done by boys, why not by girls? So that kind of a role expectations, we need to diversify as a teacher. And inclusive curriculum also. Now, like if we have to give certain examples within the curriculum, or certain areas are there, we have to think in terms of all the genders, and in terms of giving language also. When we are giving examples, if we are citing some poems or role plays, we have to think in terms of the gender expression also, so that all the genders are represented, and there's no gender stereotyping within the classroom practices. And it is important today also. Like when we talk about inclusion, it addresses sense of, we have got deep-rooted biases also, and we have to improve student retention. Why girls don't they drop out at certain phases of courses, and why do we need to think about being democratic of participation of the girl child? So those kind of things we have to think in terms of fairness of every gender should be there, no? We have to think in terms of excellence in education. So those kind of things have to be there. So to repeat, I would say that gender is very much important, and we have to address gender biases in education because it also promotes the equal opportunities. Secondly, it encourages empathy and also respect and collaboration among students because they will be working together as a team in a more better way if we remove the gender bias and we try to include everyone. And then we have to improve we can also improve retention. We say that many girls, they drop out at class secondary level, senior secondary level. Some girls don't go in for higher education also. So if we, especially for the marginalized genders, now like if there is a girl child but she is also from a from a religious minority group which is not educationally forward, so that girl has got a double chance of, because one is being girl child, other being being marginalized, they have got lesser chances. So we have to try to retain, as a teacher we have to try to retain the students in such a way that we are able to accommodate them in terms of their diversities. And we are India, as an Indian society, we are also democratic society, and we have got a democratic workplace, so we have to think in those contexts. And we should be also, one thing is that after COVID we have got a lot of mental stress, mental health issues. So if we don't treat the girl child in a right way, in a right manner, or if we do not include them in or exclude them in the class practices, that will also be impacting their mental well-being. And if you do not include children, specific children, like if we don't include within the class, that will also, shake their academic confidence. So imagine if a child is not given opportunity to speak within the class or do something in the class, the child will not be able to, basically talk when it goes for some kind of an employment opportunities. So if we have to, as a teacher, we have to think in terms of inclusion of children in such a way that their mental well-being and their academic confidence is not affected. So when we think about inclusion and we talk so much about inclusion, that they should be included. So are there some policies or not? So are there some policies? Do you remember there are some policies, some schemes which are there? Are there some schemes and policies? Are you aware? Which are trying to include the children, like in Delhi also we have got a scheme in which they try to...
Not many.
Yes,
No,
yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Beti
So,
bachao, beti padhao.
Beti bachao, na, beti padhao. So, this statement, beti bachao, beti padhao, this shows one kind of a link between the two, whether it is beti bachao or beti padhao. That means we have to include the girl child in education. Not only include, but also we have to practice inclusion within the classroom so that they are successful, they are retained within the classroom. So what are they? Let's see. National, international frameworks are there which try to promote some kind of gender equality in education. Like we have got Right to Education Act 2009, which was introduced. Now, this ensures free and compulsory education for all children, that is 6 to 14 years, and mandates non-discrimination on the basis of gender. So that Right to Education Act is there. But what I would say is that before that also there was some of the programs and activities like which talked about, there was district DPEP. Have you heard the name? District Primary Education Program. So that also talked about, the provision of, some kind of gender inclusion within the society, so that and women empowerment, so that the women and the girl child, they are able to move ahead. And when we talk about the promotion of early childhood care and education, it also talks about, relieving the girl child from taking care of the of the younger brother, younger sibling. So normally what would happen within a classroom is that if the girl child doesn't go to it doesn't get a proper education, one reason is that he or she has to take care of the younger brother, younger sister at home, because mother cannot attend to the child. But when there was the promotion of ICDS scheme, in ICDS scheme you have heard, that is integrated child development.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a very big program which was introduced in the disadvantaged or districts of India, and now it is one of the largest programs in the world. So in this, the women are given opportunity to work, or the girl child is also liberated from taking care of the younger sibling, because there is provision of some kind of Anganwadi, Balwadi for taking care of the younger child. Likewise, when we talked about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, no? So that was a national campaign was there in terms of how to save the girl child, and because there was some kind of addressing declining child sex ratio, and promoting education for girls also was also thought to be very important. Then the United Nations goal also, that is SDG 4, it also talks about ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education, and also promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all, with a focus on gender equity. So the terms which are coming here are inclusive and equitable quality education. So inclusive means that we have to include everyone, no? And also equitable means, although we may give some kind of provisions, but we have to think in terms of equity. Like if I am wearing glasses, okay, and you are not wearing glasses, but if I am sitting in a classroom in which I am not able to read board is there for everyone, but board is not edible. So is it equitable? It's not. So that way we have to think of the equitable quality education. Like if there are schools for the girl child, but there are no separate, washrooms, or if there are no for girl child specifically, or there are no system-based provisions which can address girl child bullying. So that will be something which will not be giving equitable quality education to the children. And specifically for inclusive education, it's very important. Then Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, that is CEDAW, that is, and there was an international treaty which urged the governments to eliminate this discrimination in education. So that's also something which we can talk, which talked about national and international frameworks promoting gender equality in education. Okay. Now, recently we also have NEP 2020. Now, NEP 2020, if you see the document, all of you must have gone through it. So it recognizes gender as a central theme in education and inclusion, and it also advocates for gender sensitive teacher training and inclusive curricula and safe learning spaces across all educational stages. So that's important. And we can say that it also emphasizes equity, inclusion, and gender sensitivity in education. It calls for gender sensitive teacher training, inclusive curriculum and pedagogy, safe, supportive learning environments, and also aligns with the foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary stages of reform. Then about provisions on inclusions, it also recognizes gender as a significant axis of exclusion, and recommends inclusive education practices. So the policy has given recognition that gender is one of the reasons because of which children may be excluded within the classroom. They may be in the classroom, but they are not in the classroom because they are excluded. And secondly, it also suggests gender-sensitive curriculum and textbooks that challenge stereotypes. Like we have to design those kind of textbooks in which the gender-sensitive curriculum is there and stereotypes are also challenged. In fact, if you examine some of the textbooks which are produced by NCERT now, in that you will get lots of examples of women being leaders, women mountaineers, and success stories of women entrepreneurs, and those kind. Even in literature, you will see those kind of examples. So we have to include gender in the curriculum, the gender-sensitive aspect also. Then it also calls for gender inclusion funds to support equitable access and retention of girls and transgender students also. There have to be some kind of funds which can support them in terms of safe learning spaces and safe, practices by the teacher, so that they are trained to handle such kind of, if there is transgender student in the class, how to the teacher should be, gender sensitive in that way. So there is a need to promote gender sensitization of teachers and staff through pre-service and in-service training, and this is also highlighted by the NEP 2020 provisions, which talks about the inclusion of the girl child. And there are also, UNESCO, UNICEF also has produced certain guidelines, like it which helps us to align with the global best practices through gender responsive budgeting. There's also policy advocacy and inclusive school governance frameworks which are there. Okay. So now when we talk about UNESCO, UNICEF guidelines, UNESCO's gender equality strategy is there, which talks about 2022 to 29. It talks about supporting transformative education systems to eliminate gender-based violence, because it is also noticed that there is some violence which is because of the gender. There are certain biases and discrimination. So the UNESCO gender equality strategy supports transformative education systems to eliminate gender-based violence, biases, and discrimination. Then UNICEF's Gender Action Plan, it focuses on empowering girls through education, ensuring safe learning environments, and advocating for policy reforms. It also encourages gender responsive budgeting. That is, there have to be some kind of outlay for gender responsive budget and data disaggregation by gender to monitor gaps and progress, because data is also very much important. If we are saying that we are taking certain measures that the gender gap in education is going to be less, and more girl child or more transgender maybe are coming into enrollment, we have to monitor this data through the what is the progress, and accordingly we can spend the budget on the provisions which can help them to join the system and to be retained within the education system. And also we need to provide frameworks for inclusive school governance and capacity building. So capacity building of the school heads, institutional heads, college heads, that's very important, and that is being told for. Then there are also, apart from this, the SDG 4, when we talk about Sustainable Development Goals, it also pushes to eliminate disparities in education and ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education. Gender inclusion is central to achieving this vision. So SDG 4 has also highlighted the gender inclusion, because it talks about removing the disparities. And the institutional level also, there could be some kind of gender equity policies, like there could be development of gender inclusion committees to address grievances and promote awareness. You must have seen in your institutions also, there are committees for gender specific reasons. They can which can take certain actions also. And but there is one need, that is we have to make the women also aware of their rights, that is their rights, and the about the policies which are in their favor. So that means we need to develop them as a conscious about their rights. And in this context, there are certain institutions also which are preparing certain materials in this direction. Like I would like to mention here that there are certain courses which are now being promoted under life skills. In that, one of the course which is being introduced by NIOS is about Paripurn Mahila. Paripurn Mahila means complete woman, or complete woman means a woman which is very much aware of her rights, what are her rights, and how can she make use of her rights, and she is legally aware, and she is also aware of how to be included in the society. So these kind of awareness initiatives in the form of life skills are also very much desirable also. So the institutional initiatives also on courses which are being designed for inclusion of gender, that's also being done. Then about tolerance policies also against gender-based violence and harassment in schools and institutions. These should be transparent, and in fact nowadays what do we do is that within various committees also we try to ensure that there is women representation. Even in the management committees, we try to ensure that there should be gender representation. But of course sometimes it only happens on paper, but this needs to be strictly enforced also. And implementation of gender neutral infrastructure, that is there should be toilets, uniforms which are gender neutral, and sports also. Everything cannot be male and female. There should be some kind of a neutral infrastructure also. And ensuring equal participation in the classroom activities, that is leadership roles and decision making platforms for all genders. So that also needs to be taken care of. And of course, we have to evaluate teacher can think of gender inclusion and equity policies. And in such committees in which the rules are being made or drafted, or gender inclusion committees, it is better to include the women representation of women, which is being done also nowadays. Regarding SDG 4 also, which talks about the quality education, one of the goal is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and for all. And what are the targets? Number one is eliminating gender disparities in education. Number two, ensuring access for vulnerable groups. So these the two lines which I'm talking about, eliminating gender disparities in education and ensuring access for vulnerable groups. In fact, women also comes in the vulnerable groups only. So we have to think in terms of gender inclusion as a central way to achieve education for sustainable development. And one of the way for this is SDG 4. And gender inclusion can only happen if the girl child is being promoted. Its inclusion is being promoted at institutional level through certain measures, also through inclusive approaches which are being adopted. So still now you are able to understand? So when we talk about gender, you are able to understand till now? No confusions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the beginning, I talked about gender inclusion. Gender inclusion, when we talk about gender inclusion, has got female, you can see male and transgender individual also. So we have to think in terms of this. In this figure, you can see that the blue one is a what, and pink one. That is, we think in these two terms. But what about the transgender? Would you ever think about that? Then why the exclusion of the girl child is happening within the system? That's very much a thing which we have to think about, because when we talk about inclusion, we say that inclusion is about embracing diversity. We also say that everyone using the same facilities, enjoying the same learning experiences, and being treated with the equal dignity required regardless of background. But within the school also, within the classroom also, there are certain practices which enforce that these kind of activities are to be done by girls only. Like when we say that caste and class-based demarcation also, that is sometimes it happens that lower caste girl child may be asked to clean the toilets, or in any case they will say that girls will clean the toilet or girls will clean the classroom. That may also happen. So why not boys? Boys should also be asked to clean. So our own system is making, they say that, muscle power or it is associated with men only. Why not? Girls are also going into boxing. So that kind of a stereotyped role which is coming within our social setup is being reinforced by the schools also. So this kind of a setup should be removed. So because this causes exclusion. Then within the school assemblies also, we will say girl will recite prayers, boys will read the news, they will do leadership roles like announcement. Is it right? No. Because if we give only leadership roles to boys and we give the other roles, we try to give roles, but we discriminate. Girls are fit for this role. So that's very much wrong. So that makes them somehow think that it is a male-dominated society, and roles are also reinforced by us as a teacher. You must have seen also that in the schools there are certain activities which are happening in institutions also. So extracurricular participation also is one of the ways in which the child, when we talk about education, education is not only on the cognitive aspect, it is holistic education we talk about, in which education means cognitive, social, socio-emotional development, and also affective domain, that is attitudinal development will also happen. So if the girl child is not given a leadership role, do you expect that she will be able to lead an institution? She'll be able to work properly in an institution, because it is your education which transforms an individual. But if you are not giving the roles in the beginning, how can you expect that when the girl becomes an engineer or when she becomes some MBA, she'll be as good as a boy, because she is not given the opportunity. So these kind of stereotyped roles within the institution, like role in the assembly or within the institution for working like a girl only, the girl works which are assigned to a girl child, these stereotypes also further assure that the girls won't make progress in later life. So these are one of the things which need to be removed. Then third thing, it is in the leadership also we see that there is invisibility in leadership also, and it is our own mindset within the institution which is promoting that kind of habit that girls can't be good leaders. Here I would like to give a instance to you. This is a real instance which somebody, they illustrated to me, that there was a leading school in Delhi. So it had a principal, very successful principal, a male principal who was there, and he had been awarded with Padam Shri. I won't take the name of the school. So he was given Padam Shri and he was running the school quite well. So what happened, after a few years when he retired, another teacher came, senior teacher, she was promoted to the post of principal. She had come from some other branch of that school. So what happened? The parents, well, now the school will perish because females are not good leaders. She will not be able to lead the school in a right way. But what happened? Within the few months, there was a transformation. What we were thinking were good practices within the school, adopted by the earlier principal. Those were transformed by the principal, lady principal who had come. Like, for example, in the institution, they used to have every year, like October, September, October, they used to have some functions in which they used to have a institutional Ramlila kind of a thing, which used to extend for 3-4 days. Okay, so there used to be a play in which there was a about Ramlila, in which the childhood of Ram and till going till the later when he gets old, that was there. So one team of children was identified by the earlier principal always, that would perform extensively for 3 days on the roles from childhood to adulthood to the getting old. No, the three kind of this. So the principal said, no, I think we should, for the younger Ram, we should have a child who is from nursery, then prep one, like that, So do you feel that this kind of a leadership mattered a lot for a child, and how did it help them? Of course, I would feel that it gave wider representation to the children, though, and of across age group, and also representation of different kind of children within the group. So there was, which we could see that leadership had brought out a transformation within the school in terms of a particular decision making. So we can say that we should not label that only the male principal would be good. It could be female also, and it is happening now. You can see the changes around, so many women vice chancellors and women administrators doing so well in the work. So likewise in education also, we should not label that the girl child has to do this activity. Then within the certain institutions, there are some kind of stereotypes which are held by teachers about girls' abilities also. जैसे कहते हैं कि maths, girls will not be good in maths, they will not be good in doing something which is very much technical. But that's not so. They can do provided they are given opportunities. So that kind of a thing also excludes the girl child. So that is also very important. If we label the girl child as not by a particular stereotypes. There was a news in the newspaper, I think 1 or 2 days back. A father of a girl child shooted her. Did you read that news? It was in Gurugram. Why did he shoot her? Because she was running a tennis academy. So there is a stereotype in the mind of the father. He says that girl should not do this, and he is more of societal pressures which are coming in his mind. So these stereotypes are also enforced by teachers, by societies, and these also cause exclusion of the girl child. Then household burdens, which I talked about when we talked about DPP or promotion of early childhood care and education. And one of the responsibilities of the girl child would be sibling care. Like boy child will never be told to take care of the younger child. Only the family would say the girl will take care, because whenever we say it is a woman or a girl, she is assigned the duty of being good caregiver. She will be taking care well. And now this part of a labeling of a girl child that she will be taking good sibling care also affects attendance of the child in the school. So that way this also excludes a girl child, and we assign certain roles or abilities to the girls, but those roles and abilities are the reasons behind the exclusion of the girl child. And also there are sometimes unusable toilets for girls, poor infrastructure, poor hygienic mental framework, that also leads to exclusion of the girl child. Now you can see that when we're talking about exclusion, so here we also think about inclusion. Are there certain improvements? Yes, of course. There is increased enrollment in government schools. You can see that in some states there is GPI is near 1 in some states. And but of course, when I had gone to Rajasthan for a study, so I had visited a government school, and I was very happy to see a school in which there were so many girls, only few boys. So I was elated to see that. I said to one of the teachers that I am really very happy, and that there are so many girls coming to the school, and in fact the boys are lesser. But there was a twist in the tale, something very sad in this. Because one of the teachers told me the girl child are being sent to the government schools because parents say that they don't want to invest money on the girl child. She will get married, go away. and boy children are missing in the or fewer in the government school because they were in the public school. So that kind of inclusion, when we talk about inclusion or increase in enrollment in the government schools, it is there for the girl child. What about the other kind of school system? Are there increases that we need to know? Then leadership roles for girls are being there, and in the better of families, you can see that now more of the girl child are going out, becoming pilots and becoming taking professions which are in Delhi. You can see in the buses there are girls who are conductor also. Earlier, when I was a student, long time back, we never saw a female conductor. But now you can see here and there in the metro also, you will see females are doing those kind of job. And but these are not the leadership roles, but in leadership roles are in terms of becoming institutional heads. You will see that many of the CEOs of various companies are girls. So that also encourages that there is inclusion of girl child, and it also basically when the children go to the school and they are included within the system, they also develop leadership qualities, and that also leads to development of good leaders also. Then of the encouragement of certain teachers who are gender sensitive, that also matters a lot. So that also helps children to girl child basically to take the leadership role. And there are also certain state specific programs also supporting scheduled caste, scheduled tribe girls. Here I would like to mention like KGBV. KGBV you might be knowing also, you might have seen also, they are Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya. So these are meant for girls from disadvantaged sections of the society. And here the girls are educated, not only educated, they also get some kind of a vocational skills also. They are trained also. And in these KGBVs, they are free of cost, like they're residential schools, and the girls get free education. And basically, why state is making such kind of an initiative to promote specifically disadvantaged girls, because they sometimes don't come to the school because of their disadvantage. So free education, free food, everything is free of cost, in uniform, everything. So that way it promotes. And also security of the girl child, like they have got very safe building which are safe for the girl child. I've visited I've visited two KGBVs, and I could see that how the boundary walls are being made so that nobody can, they are in remote areas, but they make it sure that the buildings are safe, because otherwise the parents will not be able to send. Then midday meals also, basically they attract girls from the poor families. They say that without meal you cannot do anything, but if you get one full meal, it helps you a lot. So that way, that with that thought in mind, the midday meal scheme was started. But midday meal scheme also attracted girl childs from the poor families. Sometimes the girl child, it was found that they have to cook food for their younger sibling. Now with the midday meal scheme, something very interesting also happened. With the girl child, some younger sibling is also coming to the school, to the institution, and getting the meal there. Although the child is not enrolled in the school, but the child is coming. So we say that here also it has got an indirect benefit. Number one, midday meal is relieving the girl child from cooking the meal for the child. Secondly, it is also making the child acquainted with the school, so that when he comes to the school, he doesn't think that it is an alien environment or something of that type. So that kind of a thing is also removed by the midday meal schemes. So if you do one good deed, I would say it may have transforming effects on the other aspects also. So one of the wonderful examples which we can say that is midday meal scheme is introducing them. Do you agree with this? That if another child which is younger one is coming, is helping the education system, I would agree, because this would acquaint and the child with the school as a child-friendly system. The younger child will also never cry, or will cry lesser coming to school. That's it. Then we also need to have certain kind of a system for making systemic changes within the system also. That is, there could be some measures which we can take for improvement, like one could be teacher sensitization on gender and caste. Here, because I was saying, if there is a girl child, there is a caste disadvantage, so that is a double disadvantage for the child. So we have to think in terms of sensitizing the teacher also in terms of gender and caste, so that we can improve the system in such way that it is embracing the diversity. Then number two, I would say inclusive infrastructure. That is, there could be clean water, usable toilets, in which there is flowing water. Some of the schools which were there in the paper, which I could see in the DICE data. We used to see the DICE data in which the schools were visible, and we could see that male, female toilets are available. But once you go to the school, in some schools, yes, toilet is available, but toilet is locked. Second school, toilet is available, running water is not there, so toilet is not usable. So these kind of factors will also be, leading to exclusion of the child, and basically no girl child. And monitoring and addressing discrimination is also very important. We need to monitor if there is some kind of discrimination. We need to address that. We have to tell the teacher that you are discriminating. Sometimes discrimination is not caused basically by intention, but a teacher who is not aware, or a classmate who is not aware, is causing discrimination. So that kind of a thing can be cured by addressing the issue of discrimination and also monitoring it. Then we also need to think in terms of curriculum reforms to promote diversity and dignity. So that kind of we have to think in terms of, like, if there is a textbook, in the textbook also we have got certain kind of diverse characters, like women scientists, or women doctors, or women leaders. Like we have got our long time, we had a Prime Minister of India. She was a woman leader, Indira Gandhi. So why not we tell about them, so that there is some kind of promotion of the thought that we have to think in terms of dignity of women also. In those contexts needs to be coming into the system. So hidden curriculum also has got sometimes unspoken messages can impact children identities. So we need to be more aware of, as educators, that this is a hidden message and we have to take care of it. And giving school opportunities or institutional opportunities to the girls in school governance is also very important, because if you make girl child as attendance monitor or assembly monitor or assembly facilitator, those kind of governance roles within the school or the institution will be able to impact the later life of the girl child. And there is, when we talk about management committees, in institutional management committees, it is assured that there should be women, and we can also make sure that it could be some marginalized parents, basically marginalized communities, so that the rights of the girl child who are from marginalized communities, they are assured. So when we talk about inclusive education, there could be 6 E's which we can say that which are very important till now, what we discuss. One is equity, that is, we have to even-hand it. We have to think in context of representation of the girl, and we have to think of their participation, and that they should be, we should not, if we give certain duties, we should be able to give certain equal access to everyone. That is, equal admittance should be there, equal opportunity should be there in terms of equal freedom and equal participation, and also equal dignity, that is exchange, respect, and also effective combination, that is enable technology, enable reflection, and also embrace the culture, that is encourage collaboration also. And that's something which needs to be taken care of in terms of 6 E's which I talked about. So 6 E's are equity, equal access, that is equal opportunity, equal dignity, effective communication, and embracing the culture, that is we have to work together in collaboration also. when we talk about curriculum and gender, now curriculum needs critical rethinking. When we examine our curriculum, we see that there is a male dominance in textbooks and passive portrayal of women in such a way that it reinforcing is the stereotypes ki ladkiyan yahi kar sakti hain. This is beyond the capacity of the girls. So that kind of a stereotype, mental stereotype is made. So we have to use, as a teacher, we have to use content that empowers all identities, whether it is a transgender, whether it is a male or a female, all are important. So we have to understand basically gender and education as a teacher, and we have to think in terms of how gender roles and stereotypes influence learning and impact on identity, self-worth, and aspirations. So when we see the textbooks, in the textbooks also, what are the characters in the story? Robin Hood. Robin Hood was a male character. No? And women are always shown to be passive or having domestic roles. There is lack of representation of diverse gender identities, and textbooks often reinforce traditional gender roles by showing men as leaders. They are shown as scientists or adventurers, and women in caregiving roles. So this shapes learners' perception of what is appropriate for each gender. So whenever you see examples, you will notice that these lack of representation of gender entities in terms of different kind of roles performed by women. Like in the textbook, there might be, on the books, there might be some illustration that she's a good mother, or what about, father? Father also has got certain roles. So why he cannot do the work like that of a mother? So that kind of a representation needs to be shaping our textbook in such a way that it is able to not only assign caregiving roles to women, but also to men also. Now, like in recently made advertisements, you can see that there is father who is caregiving, taking care of the girl. So those kind of perceptions are also built by the textbooks and the curriculum, and perceptions regarding the each gender. So that needs to be removed. Then there is also hidden curriculum and implicit biases also, that is unspoken norms, values, and expectations. So sometimes, something hidden curriculum, that there are certain things which are enforced by the curriculum, which you do not see, which is not written, but the values are, ensured by the curriculum in such a way that the biases which are implicit are reinforced. So reinforcement of the gender stereotypes, so classroom interactions, and also teachers' differential treatment of boys and girls. Like beyond the curriculum, they would, the way the teachers assign the role, that is, boys have to carry the furniture, girls have to clean the board or respond to students' behavior, reflect implicit biases and affects children's identity formation. Like when we were in school, I remember we used to have a subject like SUPW, socially useful productive work. So in that there were choices anybody could take. No, it was but invariably our system would enforce that a girl will always take a course which is related to cooking or to home science, but a boy would take electrical technician or repair work kind of a course. So is it okay? Do you agree that this should be there? Why a child can also be a technician? She can serve as a technician, no? Do you agree with this? So inclusive content and language also matters. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might have also faced these kinds of situations within your institution also. And being from the teaching community, you have to think in terms of how to transform, how to bring out a change in the system in such a way that it is able to ensure some kind of participation, representation of the girl child and transgenders in the classroom in such a way that they also get equal opportunities and opportunities to do certain works which we say that girls cannot participate or boys cannot participate because of the gender differences. So leadership roles often go to boys, we know that, but we should be able to assign certain responsibilities on what I would say rotation basis, and ensure fair representation in governance also, like we can do that as a teacher. So that could be like boys are basically made group leaders and girls as note takers or organizers. Why not we reverse the relationship? As a teacher, we make the girls as a group leaders and boys as a note takers. And because this kind of a role will reinforce traditional hierarchies in task delegation. So we need to rotate leadership across all genders intentionally. So this has to be intentional. And group work should be model democratic practices, and also ensure leadership roles are distributed fairly to empower all learners. All learners should be able to get some kind of a leadership role. Then in the school also and in the institution, there is a low female or non-binary representation in student councils or committees. So we should ensure that every time there is an election or a student council, there should be girl child who should be able to come in. With the institutional, in the colleges also, this will be then promoted. We say that although now there is a lot of scope for change, but this can be made by a teacher who is aware. So as a teacher, need to know that you should not, you should ensure that there should be no nomination of such kind which is gender biased, or election processes should not also be gender biased. So try to include the voices which are diverse and which strengthen the democratic culture in the school. So basically, school should actively encourage marginalized gender identities to participate in government and policy discussions also. No gender differences in participation patterns in the class. In the classroom also, you must have noticed that the boys often dominate classroom discussions and public speaking. So why this is happening? And girls are hesitating to express opinions due to social conditioning. Because we say that if some girl is laughing very much openly, we say, no, you should not show your teeth. It doesn't look good. You should laugh in a subtle way, that your teeth should not be shown. What about boys? So those kind of rules when we make, so we try to silence our girls with certain kind of a social conditioning, as per which we try to enforce that girl childs have to be behave in that particular way. So gender non-conforming students may remain silent due to fear of exclusion. That is also there. So teachers must be observant. You have to be observant, and also you have to make certain thoughtful equal participation practices, so that there is thoughtful management of the class in such a way that the participation pattern reflects in such a way that their diversities within the classroom are also reflected. And now we are talking about LGBTQA also, and also non-binary students. That is, in that context also, when we say that the LGBTQ students face exclusion, bullying, and invisibility also, and the institutions must adopt anti-discrimination policies and provide gender-neutral facilities. That is, how can they do that? Number one is that we say that there are lack of safe spaces and gender-neutral washrooms in the school or the institution. So we have to think or plan in those kind of directions, and fear of bullying and ridicule and non-recognition of identity is there. Then urgent need for anti-discrimination policies and sensitization programs for the teacher. And there is also true participation requires a secure and affirming environment where every child is valued. So we have to, teachers have to be trained in a mental setup in such a way that every child is valued, and regardless of gender identity or expression. So we have to bring out such kind of a teacher training component or capacity building of teachers in such a way they are able to address these challenges, and they are sensitive to the learner's requirement despite their, their gender. Then gender norms also need to be, because we have to encourage certain critical thinking about gender norms and promote equality and respect for all identities in terms of curriculum. Like when I talked about the Paripurna Mahila curriculum, or certain curriculum which are talking about gender sensitization of women. So those kind of equality and respect of all identities, they need to be assured. And we have to assure that there are safe learning spaces and also self-expression opportunities equally to the girl child. A gender-sensitive curriculum basically challenges existing stereotypes and allows all learners to imagine broader possibilities for themselves regardless of gender. And a teacher who is well aware and a curriculum developer, he has to be, aware of the requirements of a gender-sensitive curriculum, which is able to cope up with the needs of the current time. But now we are talking about so many things which are to be done. So there are certain challenges and gaps which need to be addressed when we talk about the gender inclusion in terms of pedagogy. Number one challenge which we can come out to is that there are we say school has to interact with the community, school or institution, whether it is a college, they have to interact with the community. So one of the reason which is, I would say that societal norms and resistance is a challenge for an institution because after all, the children come from a particular family. And so number one, I would say, is deep-rooted patriarchal attitude which limit girls' mobility and participation. So that attitude needs to be transformed. So that is a challenge for us because we have to think about societal norms, how to bring the transformation. And as a teacher, we have to promote in such a way that it is able to remove this kind of a stereotyping. So gender stereotypes normally reinforce traditional roles within the society and discourage aspirations. Like if a girl has to take a certain job, now if you go to certain states, you will see so many women who are driving. Taxi driving, but earlier it was not. But aspiration of being a taxi driver will not be encouraged by the parents because there is a gender stereotype. The taxi driver will be a male only. So we have to reinforce our stereotype. There are systems which are reinforcing the traditional roles. We have to fight against them. We have to resist them. And there is also nobody wants to change also. So there is resistance from families and communities to gender sensitive education. So in that way, I think this component can be impacted by interacting with the community, with the nearby families, and that is why there has to be close collaboration within the family, community, and institution. Then the second factor would be teacher, and that is the teachers are not sensitized how to make teach in a particular ways or a style in which all children are included. So that is also very important. And we as a teacher unintentionally reinforce gender biases. So there's a lack of teacher training in that context. And there's also, because now LGBTQ community is coming, we have got limited capacity to handle gender diversity in that concern. Now, regarding infrastructure barriers also are there, which is a challenge and a gap. Like if we say that the girls should come to institution, but girls sometimes they drop out because the hygienic toilets are not there. And after puberty, normally they do drop out, many of them. That is also there. And there is inadequate access to menstrual hygiene facilities, and gendered school uniform can exclude non-binary and transgender students also. So we have to uniforms also enforce the gender, like uniform color, uniform style. So that also is something. Then unsafe school environments or long travel distances that are regular attendance. Although into teaching profession, most of the time it is, many of the women, they are coming into the teaching profession. But many of the times it is noted in certain institutions, there are male teachers only for certain subjects. So why not we should have certain female teachers also? So that kind of a school environment in which female teachers are also there, that will also basically inculcate habit in the parents also, that school are safe because a female teacher is also coming. So that kind of barrier can be removed by the setup, by teacher management in such a way that the certain teachers are posted in the schools in which they are only male teachers. So that kind of a take care can be taken off. And incidents of verbal, physical, and sexual harassment are also underreported sometimes, because there is people say no, this will be bad for our institutional image. It will break up our image. So these kind of things are to be taken care of. There is also lack of functional grievance redressal mechanisms also. Then fear and trauma affect the mental and learning outcomes of the such kind of children. So because fear, people will not come out also. So we have to rethink in terms of pedagogy, that is shifting from lecture to learner-centered approach. We have to use participatory methods to promote dialogue and collaboration across gender identities, and that is to be taken care of in terms of our pedagogical practices to remove these gaps. So how to use inclusive teaching learning materials, that's very important. So that is selecting textbooks and stories that reflect gender diverse rules as a teacher, and avoid gendered language and stereotypes in classroom. Examples and visuals should be from both genders, or even transgender also, they should be included. Some success stories can be incorporated during the role plays also within the institution. We have to take care of that the stereotypes are not reinforced within the classroom, and incorporate content that highlights in contribution to all genders, contribution of all the centers, sorry. Then creating safe spaces also within the institution, that is establish policies against bullying, harassment and discrimination, designating the safe zones also, that is within the institution which are safe for where a child can go and talk. A child who is kind of facing exclusion should be able to get counseling support, and ensure inclusive infrastructure that is gender specific or gender little diverse characters within the story also. So we have to rethink about the participation beyond the presence. Presence is there, but the child is excluded. Is it good? No, it's not. So we have to think in terms of using inclusive language, inclusive curriculum, and student bullying should not be there in terms of gender. And workshops should be there for teachers, because when we say that there should be no biases or addresses, we should be able to address stereotypes. So how it can be addressed? We should have workshops for teachers, include gender modules in preschool and in-service teacher training, promote respectful dialogue and empathy across gender identities. That's also very much desirable. Till now, you're able to understand? So when we talk about
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so when we talk about inclusion of genders, it's not that nothing has been done. Like I talked about KGBV. KGBV is Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya, which is taking an intervention in terms of enrollment of the girls in school, specific from disadvantaged sections of society. Likewise, in different institutions, you will see, or in different states, you will see that there are initiatives which have been taken. Like in Karnataka's gender inclusion curriculum, that is state level initiative, which integrates the gender sensitive content in the textbooks, and also there is teacher training also is there. Then UNICEF's life skill education in schools, that is, it promotes gender equality through modules on respect, communication, and consent in co-ed settings. Then Gender Champions Club, that is, which is introduced by CBSE. It talks about student-led clubs in schools, promoting gender equity through awareness campaigns and peer engagement. There is a Project Samantha, which is started in Odisha. That is, it empowers adolescent girls from tribal areas through mentorship, leadership, training, and safe learning spaces. And NCRT has developed a kit for gender, that is gender audit tool kit, which helps schools assess and improve gender responsiveness in curriculum, pedagogy, and school environment. And Delhi government, it has started happiness curriculum. Many of you must be from Happy, and this from Delhi, and you must have heard about happiness curriculum. It basically encourages the emotional well-being and respectful classroom relationships across gender identities. So that also is promoting some kind of a respectful attitude towards the gender. And we have to rethink in terms of how to remove gender bias in textbooks, representation of diverse voices, and we need to include the examples which are of non-binary characters. So To sum up, we can say that there could be principles of a gender inclusive curriculum which we should think about, that is reflecting diversity and plurality, and also promoting critical thinking and integrating the intersectional perspectives. And we have to rethink in terms of pedagogy, like shifting to learner-centered approaches by using some kind of participatory method, and encouraging respectful interactions within the classroom. When we are addressing the girl child, we should be respectful and ensure that there is equal participation, and avoid gendered roles, and use gender-neutral language, and value emotional expression of the children. And we have to address challenges by marginalized gender, and also tackling barriers, that is stigma, peer bullying, and inclusive practices. And as a teacher, we have to be a reflective practitioner. We have to think in the context of the child and challenge the personal biases, and think of creating a safe environment. There are challenges, but simple steps do matter. That is, if we have to, if we make in terms of some kind of inclusive assemblies, open conversations, or diverse lesson plans, and supportive responses to teaching, can change our entire institutional culture. Although there are reforms, that is NEP 2020, Inclusive Education, NCF, NCRT, POSH Act, and also sensitization workshop, gender audits. There are so many things which we are talking about, but there are challenges, and we have to make a way forward in terms of, there is a resistance also, that is despite this resistance. Let me put my, I think charger may go off. So we have to think in terms of inclusive lesson plans. And just wait a minute, let me put my charger, okay? Just wait. Are you able to see PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So to conclude, what we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
say is that we have to, there are challenges. Despite resistance, we must move forward to teaching, training, curriculum reforms, and systems that support safe disclosures and justice to the children in form of, gender. And we have to think of classrooms which are gender inclusive, and they are not just in terms of on paper, they are practiced, and they are essential also. So let's educate children in such a way that our classrooms are gender inclusive. And we can say that gender inclusive classroom would be something which is a just classroom. Just, what it is, giving justice to everyone. And it promotes equality, dignity, and participation. Educate without prejudice to a child, and we can build a just society. So with these words, I would end my PowerPoint, and we have to think that gender inclusive classrooms are not just ethical, they are essential component. We say that ethically hona chahiye, but it's not that. They are essential component. So we have to think as a teacher that we have to educate children without prejudice, so that we are able to build a society which is empathetic, and where everyone feel he or she, or a transgender, he belongs to the society. So the insights which I've shared with you, I have here are grounded in policy and academic frameworks of NEP 2020, NCF, UNESCO, UNICEF, and years of educational research and practice. So with these few words, I just ended my PowerPoint, and now I look forward to questions, if any. Let me just. So now I move forward to the end of this, and please, questions, if any, please let me know. What do you feel as a teacher? How can you make some transformation? Can you make some transformation? Yes, of course. A teacher is a change maker, a transforming agent. So within an institution, you can make a change. You can make a difference by promoting education which is inclusive. So that's my point. Any questions?
मेरा
So as a
कोई
teacher,
क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है, बस मैं ये बोलना चाह रही थी कि इक्वलिटी तो होनी चाहिए, लेकिन जब मैं हॉस्टल में रहती थी तो हम लोगों को 7 बजे के बाद लाइब्रेरी नहीं जाने दिया जाता था कि आप लड़की हैं, आप रूम पर ही पढ़ाई कीजिए, और लड़के लोग 10 से 11 बजे तक लाइब्रेरी में पढ़ते थे, तो वहाँ पर फर्क महसूस होता था मैम।
हाँ, ये मैंने भी हॉस्टल में काम किया हुआ है। असल में मैं तो जामे में हॉस्टल में काम किया। देयर रूल्स व्हिच गर्ल्स यूज्ड टू से व्हाई देयर आर रूल्स फॉर गर्ल्स एंड नॉट फॉर बॉयज ना, ये चीज वहां पे भी था। तो बट यू नो आवर सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स एंड द वे वी यू नो feeling of respect is not there for girls. No, that feeling has to be basic groundwork. Why I was talking about the school. School is the one which is building step for going higher up in the education system. So we have to transform from the base. Our system is propagating those kind of mental attitude in which we are thinking that girls cannot go out, girls are not safe. Why? Because we are telling our boys to, agar ladka kuch galat karta hai, so it is not wrong. Girls are, you know, we are promoting that kind of a mentality in the boys. So we have to reform in our education in such a way that we have to make our society so much of liberal that a girl child is also able to go out. Like in a country like South Korea, if you go out, in child goes out, girl student, women, if they go out night at 1 o'clock, they are even doing cycling. Here, a girl cannot do cycling in night at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. So our own education system, our own cultural, you know, there is a what I would say challenge also in terms of ours is a diverse society in which we are promoting certain social norms. But how can we cannot transform society drastically in a single year. It will be transformed gradually and basically through education system only. So we have to educate rightly. So that's my point. Now you are talking about girl child because the hostel, they take ownership that girls should be safe, they should come back in time because somebody may harm them. So here the feeling of girl being harmed on the road, somebody kidnapping the girl or ill-treating the girl because they are like, you know, they are like homes only, second homes for the girl child. So that kind of a rule is enforced. So we have to make a change within our society, within our own social system in such a way that the hostel rules can also be transformed, that there is an equal rule for girls timing and the boys timing. So that I would like to say. But there are countries, I would say, that girls, I could see in South Korea, the girls are cycling in night. And it's amazing to see. Here, girls can't cycle in night. In daytime, they will do cycling. In that also, there could be some teasing in certain areas. Cycle chala rahi hai or something of that sort. Or if you dress in a particular way, they will be looking at you. So that kind of a stress on our society that girls have to follow the norms and boys can be rule breakers, and we treat our sons in a different way. They will not do cooking. They will not, they will be offered food on table. Girl child will be bringing for the brother. So that kind of a systemic change within our social structure can be brought by a education system, which is here I had also talked about the hidden curriculum, which is also promoting the challenge of reaching out or removing these stereotypes. So these stereotypes can be catered to by a system which is empowering the women. And here I talked about one course also, which makes the girl child or the women aware of their rights. So these kind of systemic steps within the education system, I hope we'll be able to bring a reform. So Arisha, I think I answered in some way to your query. Of course, the social system is there and we are in the social system. And in Indian society, you can see that there are certain constraints also when girls are concerned, but there are a lot of changes, which you can see in terms of change in profession, girls taking certain professions which are unconventional, which are not taken by the which were earlier not taken by, like I said, taxi driver. I went in night to Hyderabad. I reached in night at about 1 p.m. The cab driver was a woman. I asked her, "You don't you feel unsafe?" She said, "No, I'm not unsafe because we have, the entire taxi is being monitored by GPS system." And I said, "What about your family?" She had, my child is being looked after by my husband. So here the transformation is happening in the society. No? The father is taking care of the child, mother is driving the taxi. Otherwise, it was other way around. Father will be driving the cab maybe in the night. So this kind of a transformation perhaps will be made well aware by a well aware society, well aware of gender equality, gender equity, and gender inclusion. And education will be a change maker because it will be creating a just society. That's it. Thank you. Any other question?
Hello, madam.
Shukriya.
I'm from West Bengal. I
Yes.
would like to, there is actually no question, but I would like to share since I teach geography. We had in this NEP the Global Gender Gap Index. In the Global Gender Gap Index, the India's rank was in 2023, it was 127th, and now it is 129th. There is a considerable change in the political empowerment. However, the educational attainment of female and male are quite good. But in case of the political empowerment and the economic participation and opportunity, India had a fall, especially political empowerment. Also, this is just to share. And also, I would like to say that in NEP, as we have a compulsory paper for all the students about environmental education, so there should be, what I think is there should be a compulsory paper about this self-defense also, rising crimes. In the society on women, there should be a compulsory paper on women, how to make themselves safe. So that's it.
Yes, very true. I think what you said, it is rightly said, and this is how we have to think as a teacher, no? How to transform the system. And you are from West Bengal, no? So,
yes, madam, I'm from West Bengal.
It's a society in which we can see that gender roles are little better in, because India is a diverse country. You know, if you go to north, more of gender, no, female gender reinforcement. Here, I think the girl child is in fact respected a little better than the northern regions. So it's our thoughts which matter a lot. How to bring about the change, and the points you have told are really, they matter, because we have to think of, although there are, you can see that there are a little bit of steps in terms of women's progress in India, but we need to do much more better. We are a bigger society, we are a populous society, and we have got a younger population. So we say that it is our dividend, youth is our dividend. So how to make best use of dividend? Because so for that also we need to support the gender equity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have one question to you.
Yes.
Yeah, my question is, sometimes I feel that, in many cases, we try to force this parity between men and women. What I am trying to say is that there will be certain areas in which women might be good and strong, and there might be certain areas when men might be good and strong. But whenever we try to kind of strike a parity in all these spheres possible, it's going to be very problematic for women. For instance, I have seen, since the men are playing football, the women should also start playing football, which is good. Idea is good. But I see in one of two instances, a female footballer, when she was about to score a goal, she just fell down and started vomiting. She did very good to reach up to the goal post, but whenever she struck the ball, she just fell down and started vomiting with abdominal pain. So this is how I feel that, there should not be an effort to strike a parity which is very forceful. which is not in tune with the physical abilities of women. Though I feel, and everyone say politically correct statement will be that yes, there should be parity and equality in all kinds of sphere. But let me tell you that we might go wrong in many areas. Many areas we might go wrong, right?
Can I add my point to it? Actually, what has happened is that there is a theory which says that, when I talked about X and Y chromosome, X is female and XY is male. They say that the X which is there in the female, it deteriorated and it became Y. And the women have got more capabilities initially because of this, no, because this is degenerated Y gene because of which the men have been formed. And initially, if you see a girl child, very good in communication skills, but what happens is a society which also hinders, says, no, girl, you should have to speak like that. This is the behavior. This is prescribed behavior. You should not jump very fast. You should not do this. So what happens initially with from early years also, we try to enforce certain gender kind of norms with the girls, and we say that girls are like that. So these kind of things also develop in a kind of a mental setup. So that is what I would say. And second thing which you said, that we should not force upon anyone. Yes, of course there are individual differences. I would not say it is gender differences. It would be individual differences which are there. So we have to not force a person. Like you said, she started vomiting. It could be health reason. It could be certain reason that she could not take the stress at that time. Could be any reason. So we cannot just say that she is not a good player in that field. So individual differences are to be respected. Yes, of course, in terms of strength, there may be difference between boys doing certain tasks which are there biologically, but our social system should not. The girls are blessed with certain capabilities from the birth. Our social system should try to develop them. Individual differences need to be respected also, as you said. So we think in terms of individual differences. I think that would be an appropriate way. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Savita Kaushal ji. You have
Thank you.
elaborated each and every aspect in a very well organized manner, and things will be taken into account in terms of grassroots realities. So really presented very well, and we could be able to understand about the relationship between higher education and society. Thank you from my core of heart. Thank you so much. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Dear friend,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you,
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very
this
much.
session, very
Thank you, ma'am.
informative session.
Thank you,
All
ma'am.
Very
the
nice.
Thank you
best.
very much.
So we
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Very
So
enlightening.
now you are
Thank
requested
you, ma'am.